Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Sayyid Ahmed Khalid and my team's name is Glaciers. Today the topic of my presentation is conflict. What is a conflict basically and how it arises individually or in an organization. We'll be discussing that. So the first question that arises is what is a conflict basically? Conflict can be defined as a state of discord or disagreement between individuals, groups or organizations or nations maybe. It typically arises when there are incompatible goals, interests, values, or actions that result in physical confrontations, tension, hostility, or opposition. It can also occur in personal relationships, workplaces, communities, or international relations as well. Conflict can be also be driven by factors such as competition, power struggles, misunderstandings, or differing perspectives. Okay, so resolving conflicts often requires effective communication, negotiation, compromise, or mediation to reach a satisfactory resolution for all the parties which are involved in an organization. In an organizational context, if we talk about the organizational conflict refers to disagreements, tensions, or disputes that may arise between individuals, teams, or departments within an organization. It can also stem from various sources such as difference in communication goals, or maybe interest or value systems, or maybe some people having different communication styles also, or resource allocation. So if we talk about the types of the organizational conflict which occur in an organization, there are maybe some types which I will be defining today. The first one is interpersonal conflict, second one is role conflict, third one is conflict over resources, or the fourth one is conflict over decision making, and the fifth one is cultural or value conflicts. So if we talk about the first one, that is interpersonal conflict, which is between the team members. Let's say if I give you an example, so if there are four people, जैसे कि अगर दो people जो हैं, दो या चार people मेंबर्स जो हैं एक टीम में काम कर रहे हैं, और उन चारों का माइंडसेट बिल्कुल ही डिफरेंट है, या फिर उन चार लोगों के आपस में एक जैसे बनती नहीं है, या फिर किसी कम्युनिकेशन की वजह से गैप आ जाता है, या फिर उनकी डिफरेंस हैं आइडियाज़, और उनकी जो वैल्यू सिस्टम्स हैं, जो कि उनकी पेरेंटिंग है, वो बिल्कुल ही डिफरेंट हुई है। क्योंकि एक चीज़ होती है कि आपकी पेरेंटिंग बिल्कुल डिफरेंट होती है दूसरे बंदे से, और ये एक तरीके से सही भी है और डिफरेंट भी होता है। तो जिसकी वजह से इंटरपर्सनल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स जो हैं बिल्ड होते हैं एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर। अगर हम एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में काम कर रहे हैं, लेट्स से इफ यू आर वर्किंग इन एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड द टीम्स, एंड लेट्स से आई एम द लीडर ऑफ द टीम, and if I have difference in my opinions with the other team members, or my ideas are totally different, my goals are totally different, then there must be a conflict which will arise between the team members and the team lead also. Okay.
Thanks for your invitation. Assalamu alaikum. I am Asaf, and today I will be discussing the topic what are the causes of conflicts. Conflict is an integral part of human interaction and has shaped our history, societies, and relationships. What are the main causes of conflicts in organization? Conflicts happens because people have different opinions, perspectives, and values, which lead to misunderstanding and arguments. When resources are limited, people compete for them, which can cause conflicts. People fight for power and authority, leading to ongoing conflicts. When communication breaks down, it makes a conflict worse by creating more misunderstanding and dividing people even further. And conflict can also arise for unresolved past issues and grievances. Differences in culture and religion can create tension and conflict between different groups. Discrimination and inequality can lead to conflicts as marginalized individuals and communities struggle for fairness. Economic disparities and unequal opportunities can also generate conflicts based on social injustice. When there are no power ways to resolve conflicts and lack of effective mediations, conflicts continue. Rivalries between nations and disputes over territory are common causes of conflicts. We have six organizational conflict. The number one is incomfortable goals and time horizon, and the second one is overlapping authority, and the third one is task independencies, and the fourth one is incompatible evaluation and reward system. Fifth is status inconsistencies, and sixth is source resources. Now move to the next slide. How difference in opinion contributes to conflict. Conflict happens when people have different opinions and beliefs, and strong convictions lead to defending one's position and ignoring opposing views. Emotion rise as values and identities feel threatened. Competition from resources and power worsens conflicts when interests clash. Communities breakdowns hinder understanding and dialogue. Without finding common ground, conflicts based on different opinions continues and get worse. And the next one is limited resources and competition for their allocation contributes to conflict. Number one is limited resources and competition for their allocation is a common cause of conflict. And the second one is conflict can arise in various settings such as business and communities and families. And the third one is competition for resources can lead to feeling resentment and hostility. Fourth one is resolving conflict require effective communication and negotiation skills. And the fifth one is conflict resolution can be achieved through compromise and collaboration. And six is it is important to listen to all parties involved and try to understand their perspectives. And the seven is addressing conflicts early on can prevent them from escalating into more serious issues. And eight is implementing fair and transparent allocation process can help reduce the likelihood of conflicts. Power struggle and conflict over authority contributes to conflict. Struggle for power and dispute over authority are a major cause of conflict as individuals and groups compete for control, influence, and decision making power. Difference in authorities and conflicting interests create an environment where tension and disagreement can easily arise. Conflict opinions about who should have power and how it should be used often trigger conflict, as each party tries to establish their authority while undermining opposition perspectives. These dynamics often lead to confrontation, resistance, and breakdown of trust among groups or individuals involved. Without addressing the underlying issues of authority and control, resolving conflicts and fostering cooperation become challenging tasks. It is important to reorganize and address power struggle and conflicts over authority to prevent him from escalating into more serious issues. Now move to the next slide. The communication breakdown and misunderstanding contributes to conflict. Now, communication breakdowns and misunderstandings significantly contribute to conflict. When effective communication is lacking, message can be misunderstood or distorted, leading confusion and frustrations. Diverse interpretation of words, actions, or intentions can create tension and escalating conflict. Moreover, the failure to actively listen, empathize with different perspectives, hinders finding common ground and resolving disagreements. Miscommunication, perspectives, stereotypes, assumptions, and biases, creating barriers to constructive dialogue and widening the gap between conflicting parties. Addressing communication breakdowns and promoting clear, empathetic communication is essential in mitigating conflict, fostering, and understanding. Thank you so much, and my team member Ali Bilai will continue the presentation and would be explaining you how does conflict affect individual and group behavior within an organization. Thank you so much. Allah.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Ariblai and I am going to tell you about how does conflict affect individual and group behavior within an organization. Conflict can have significant effects on both individual and group behavior within an organization. Group behavior. Conflict within an organization can have profound impact on group behavior. It can disrupt team dynamics and hinder collaboration among group members. Conflict often leads to division and faction within the group, resulting a breakdown in communication. Decision making process can become lengthy as disagreements and power struggle arise. These elements may make it more difficult for group to function cohesively and accomplish common goals, thus lowering the group's performance and productivity. Individual behavior. At an individual level, conflict can have significant effects on behavior within an organization. It can evoke intense emotion such as anger, frustration, and stress, which can impact an individual's. Engaging in conflict can divert attention away from job responsibilities, leading to decreased performance and productivity. Moreover, conflict often results in communication breakdown as individuals may hesitate to express their opinions and collaborate with others. This can further divide individuals and create a hostile environment, affecting their motivation, engagement, and overall job performance. Overall, Overall, conflict within an organization can disrupt individual and group behavior, affecting emotion, performance, communication, decision making, and interpersonal relationships. It is crucial for organization to make conflict effectively through open communication, conflict resolution strategies, and fostering a positive work to minimize its negative impact. Next is how does stress in organization lead to conflicts and less productivity? Stress in organization can lead to conflicts and reduce productivity through various mechanisms. High stress level create tension and contribute to a hostile work environment, increasing the likelihood of conflicts among employees. Stress impairs communication, leading to misunderstanding and strained relationships. It also hampers problem solving abilities, making it difficult to find mutually satisfactory solutions. Additionally, stress can decrease cooperation and collaboration as individuals become more self-focused. Organizations should support work-life balance, offer stress management tools, promote open communication, and create a positive workplace in order to reduce these consequences. Further, we go for next slide is about what are the different types of conflict that can arise in organizational settings. Here are different types of conflict that can arise in organizational settings. Number one, interpersonal conflict is like personal differences, clashes in personalities, or disputes over power and resources between individuals. Number two, intrapersonal conflict is like internal conflicts within an individual arising from conflicting emotion, values, or desires. Number three, intra-group conflict. Intra-group conflict arises between different groups or teams within an organization. It can stem from competition for resources, differing objects, or a lack of cooperation and coordination between groups. Number four, role conflict. Conflicting expectation or demands from different roles and individual holds within an organization. Number five, organizational conflict. Organizational conflict refers to conflict that arise due to structural or systematic issues within an organization. It can result from disagreements over policies, procedures, goals, or resources allocation. Number six, cultural conflict. Difference in values, beliefs, or norms among individual or group within a multicultural or various work environment. The summary is understanding and managing these various types of conflict is crucial for promoting a harmonious work environment and maintaining positive relationships within the organization. Effective conflict resolution strategies, opening communication, and fostering a culture of respect and collaboration can help address and reduce these conflicts. Now Rahim will take over and tell about the types of conflict.
Hello and assalamu alaikum. My name is Zain Ganji and my topic is types of conflicts. So basically there are 5 types of conflicts. First is intrapersonal conflict, interpersonal conflicts, intragroup conflict and inter-individual conflict. Basically the first type is intrapersonal conflicts. These conflicts occur within an individual, in single individual, and the reason behind the occurrence of this conflict is the different vision of organization and in an individual. The second type is interpersonal conflicts which is occur within an organization but between two different individual two different individual or more than two individuals. And the third type is intergroup individual. Intergroup individual it occur between the two different group in organization. जैसे कि मैं आपको एग्जांपल दे सकता हूँ इसकी, हमें टीचर ने एक दिया असाइनमेंट दिया है, तो टीचर ने हमें एक असाइनमेंट दिया, हमें है ना दो ग्रुप से हमारे उनको बोले कि असाइनमेंट आपको सबमिट एक साथ करना है। तो है ना एक ग्रुप का काम करने का तरीका अलग होगा, दूसरे ग्रुप का काम करने का तरीका अलग होगा, लेकिन हमें मिस ने बोला है कि हमें एकदम एक साथ देना है। तो उनके काम करने के तरीके के अलग होने की वजह से है ना एक कॉन्फ्लिक्ट जनरेट होगा, जिसको हम इंटर ग्रुप कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हम बोल सकते हैं। Intragroup conflicts, and there is third type which is intragroup conflicts. Intragroup conflicts which is occur within a same group but in different members of the groups in single organization. इस एग्जांपल आप ये ले सकते हैं कि एक ग्रुप है, एक ग्रुप के अंदर जैसे एक तो मेंबर होता नहीं है, 3-4 मेंबर होंगे, 3-4 मेंबर्स के लिए 3-4 मेंबर होंगे आपको, तो 3-4 मेंबर का काम करने का तरीका जो है वो अलग अलग होगा। जैसे एक बंदा जो है वो दूसरे तरीके से काम करता है, दूसरा बंदा दूसरे तरीके से काम करता है, तो ये ना ये तरीके अलग होने की वजह से कॉन्फ्लिक्ट जनरेट होगा, इसको हम इंटर ग्रुप कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स बोल सकते हैं। एंड द फोर्थ टाइप इज एन इंटर इंडिविजुअल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट which is occur within an individual. It is an internal struggle or tension that arise when a personal experience conflict thought. Now there is three more types of intra-individual conflicts. First is goal conflict, which has three subtypes: approach to approach conflict, avoidance to avoidance conflict, and approach to avoidance conflict. The second type of inter-individual conflict is role conflict, and the third type is conflict from frustration. Basically, conflict from frustration is occur when the individual not getting his desired output that he want from his work. Like example, if we take the example of सॉफ्टवेयर कंपनी, सो बेसिकली सॉफ्टवेयर कंपनी में होता ये है कि अगर आपको कोई प्रोजेक्ट, आपको कोई क्लाइंट जो है वो प्रोजेक्ट आपको देता है, आपको एक मतलब डेडलाइंस होती है आपके पास, मतलब बहुत टाइट डेडलाइन होती है, कोई 2 दिन में आपको बहुत बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट आपको ना कंप्लीट करना है। तो उसमें जो है आपके पास है ना बहुत सारे चैलेंजेस आएंगे, आपको बहुत सारे बग्स आपको फेस करने होंगे। अगर फिर उस टाइम पर अगर बंदे को क्या बोलते हैं, उसका डिज़ायर आउटपुट नहीं मिला जो वो चाह रहा था, जो उसके माइंडसेट में जो चीज़ सेट थी कि 2 दिन बाद उसका प्रोजेक्ट इस तरह दिखना चाहिए और है ना इसका कस्टमर जो है वो सेटिस्फाई होना चाहिए, अगर उसको वो चीज़ अचीव नहीं होती तो उससे जो है वो उसके अंदर फ्रस्ट्रेशन आएगी, और ये एक तरह से फ्रस्ट्रेशन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट की एग्जाम्पल हो सकती है। These are the types of conflicts, and now I will like to invite Mohammad Shahir Kamal to continue our presentation.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Sayyid Mohammad Sheikh Kamal, and thank you Ryan for inviting me. I am here to discuss the impact of conflicts. Strained relationships. Conflicts can damage relationships, leading to resentment, mistrust, and strained interaction between individual or group. For example, in a software company, there is a team who is responsible for creating a critical project. The team consists of 5 members with different roles and expertise. Over the time, conflicts started to arise within the team, which led to damage the relationship. Reduced productivity. Conflicts divert attention and energy away from productive tasks, resulting in decreased efficiency and overall output. For example, if you have conflict with your friend or any other person recently, and you have that conflict somewhere in your mind, you cannot do anything productively. Increased stress. Conflicts induce stress, negatively impacting mental and physical well-being and potentially leading to burnout. For example, you are working in a company and you have pressure of boss to give your tasks early, so you cannot do it well and you have a stress. Hindered communication. Conflicts often hinder open and effective communication, leading to misunderstanding, breakdowns, and barrier to collaboration. For example, in a technology company. A cross-functional team is responsible for developing a new software product. However, the conflict is hindered effective communication between the team and resulting various challenges. Low morale, persistent conflicts can create a negative work environment, lowering morale and decreasing job satisfaction among the employees. For example, in a telecommunication company, a team of customer representatives is responsible for handling customer inquiries and resolving their problems. However, conflict and a negative work environment led to low morale the employees. Loss of focus. Conflict can divert attention from organizational goals and objectives, hindering progress and growth. Employee turnover. Prolonged conflicts contribute to job dissatisfaction, leading to increased employees and turnover and recruitment cost. Reputation damage. Conflicts particularly if they escalate publicly, can harm an organization's reputation and impact its relationship with stakeholders. For example, any celebrity post a bad review regarding any company, that company can be in loss so much. Thank you. Now the presentation will be continued by my colleague Syed Ahmed Khalid. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. First of all, I would like to thank my team member Shaheed for sharing the slide again with me. The new topic I will be discussing today is a conflict process. What is a conflict process? Let's say a conflict process which refers to the disagreements or individual properties or individual thinking or difference in ideas. These are the reasons due to which a conflict arises in an organization. I'll be discussing about the process, how a conflict is processed through all these conditions in stages. There are multiple stages. There are 5 stages I'll be discussing. The stage 1 is potential opposition or incompatibility, which have subgroups in it, subtypes in it, which are antecedent conditions. The first one is communication structure, personal variables, and the second stage is cognition and personalization. The third stage is intentions, which have some subtypes in it, which are competing, collaborating, compromising, avoiding and accommodating. The stage 4 consists of a behavior, and the stage 5 consists of outcome. So these are the 5 stages which process a conflict in an organization. So I'll be discussing the first stage, which is potential opposition or incompatibility. The first step in a conflict process is the presence of conditions that create opportunities for the conflict to arise, to develop in an organization. This cause or created opportunities for organizational conflict to arise. So they need to be directly to conflict. One of these conditions is necessary if the conflict is to surface. I'll be discussing the subtypes, which are communication, structure and personal variables. The first one is communication. These are the 3 conditions that cause conflict, which I'll be explaining. So the first one is communication. Communication style or differ in communication style, insufficient exchange of information, the too much communication or too small communication also leads to the conflict in an organization. Which can lay the foundation for the conflict, which process the conflict initially. बिकॉज लेट्स से कि अगर मैं आपको एग्जांपल दूं कि कम्युनिकेशन गैप होता है, या हम अपने किसी टीम लीडर के साथ, अगर हम एक टीम में काम कर रहे हैं ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, और अगर हम अपनी टीम के साथ कुछ ज़्यादा ही इंफॉर्मेशन को शेयर करते हैं, या फिर अपने आइडियाज़ को कुछ ज़्यादा ही शेयर करते हैं, या फिर बहुत ज़्यादा कम शेयर करते हैं, और बहुत ही ज़्यादा कम इंफॉर्मेशन को हम रिलीज़ करते हैं अपने क्लाइंट के पास, तो हमारे जो है आइडियाज़ जो है आहिस्ता आहिस्ता डिफ़र होना शुरू हो जाते हैं कि लेट्स से कि देयर आर 2 पॉइंट्स, देयर आर 2 पर्सन्स, द फर्स्ट वन इज़ ए एंड द सेकंड वन इज़ बी. सो द ए के बाद जो है ए की जो बात है वो बी के पास कन्वे सही से हो नहीं पा रही है, क्योंकि बहुत ज़्यादा कम कम्युनिकेशन हो रही है दोनों के दरमियान. और अगर मैं बी के एस्पेक्ट से बात करूँ तो बी के एस्पेक्ट से ये बात हो सकती है कि वो कुछ ज़्यादा ही कम्युनिकेशन कर रहा है अपने रिलेटेड, या फिर कुछ ज़्यादा ही इंफॉर्मेशन को पास आउट कर रहा है टुवर्ड्स ए. So these are the examples that I am discussing about a communication gap, or the too much communication or insufficient exchange of information between two peoples or a group or a team which is working in that organization. The second one is structure. The term structure includes variables such as size or degree or of specialization in the task assigned to a group or team in an organization. So basically it means कि the style of working in an organization of a person is different from the other one. Again, I'll give you an example. Let's say there are two people. The first one is A and the second one is B. The working style or the communication style or the structure of the working of a person is different, and it is much higher than the second person which is B. So in easy words के एक A जो है पर्सन A जो है वो जो है उसका जो लेवल है या फिर उसकी जो प्रोफिशेंसी का लेवल है या तो प्रोफेशनल लेवल पे काम कर रहा है, तो अगर वो ज़्यादा ही डिफरेंट होगी बी से तो उन दोनों के दरमियान में इख्तलाफात बढ़ सकते हैं, कॉन्फ्लिक्ट अराइज हो सकता है स्ट्रक्चर में. क्योंकि लेट्स से कि इफ़ ए इज़ वर्किंग एट अ हायर लेवल और एट अ हायर पोजीशन देन बी, सो द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ वर्किंग, the intergroup relations between the two peoples will be different. There will be non-clarity between the two people because the structure is different. The A is working on a different level and the B person is working on a different level. So the solution will be like this कि अगर हम दोनों पर्सनस को एक साथ कंबाइन कर दिया जाए, दोनों को कोलैबोरेट किया जाए, तो हम दोनों के स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ वर्किंग को सेम कर सकते हैं ईज़िली. लेकिन अगर स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ वर्किंग ही डिफरेंट होगा तो उसकी एस्पेक्ट से जो है हमारे काम पे ज़्यादा लोड पड़ सकता है, जिसकी वजह से हमारे जो आइडियाज़ बिल्कुल ही क्रॉस हो जाएंगे एक तरीके से. लेट्स से कि एक और एग्जांपल दे सकता हूँ मैं इसकी कि लेट्स से कि इफ़ ए इज़ थिंकिंग समथिंग डिफरेंट दैन बी एंड बी इज़ थिंकिंग समथिंग डिफरेंट दैन ए, so there will be a conflict that will arise between these two people because there will be a communication gap, the members or the compatibility, the leadership styles, reward systems and the degree of dependence between the groups will be different from the other groups. Also the size and specialization act as forces to stimulate conflict. The larger the group, the more specialized its activities. It means कि अगर हमारा ग्रुप बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा होता है या फिर हमारी जो टीम वर्किंग की स्पेस है उसका स्ट्रक्चर ही बिल्कुल डिफरेंट होता है, और तो उसमें भी हमारे जो रिवॉर्ड सिस्टम है या फिर हमारी कोई लीडरशिप स्टाइल है वो डिफ़र कर सकते हैं. अगर बहुत छोटा ही स्मॉल ग्रुप होगा उसमें कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स को मैनेज करना बहुत ज़्यादा मुश्किल हो जाता है. लेकिन अगर कोई बहुत बड़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है ऑफ अराउंड 200 पीपल, सो दैट विल बी ईजियर टू मैनेज द कॉन्फ्लिक्ट एंड रिजॉल्व द कॉन्फ्लिक्ट एज फास्ट एज पॉसिबल. So the third subtype which I will be discussing is personal variables, which means certain personality types. For example, highly authoritarian or dogmatic individuals lead to potential conflict. The another reason which is for the conflict is the difference in value system. Again, the value system means here is the parenting, the nurturing of a person in its childhood or in its teenage will be different from the other person also. Value differences are the best explanation of diverse issues such as disagreements over one contribution to the group and the rewards one deserves. सो इसको मैं अगर सिंपल वर्ड्स में एक्सप्लेन करूँ तो इसका मतलब ये हो सकता है कि अगर आपके वैल्यू सिस्टम बिल्कुल डिफरेंट हैं, आप अगर किसी और चीज़ पे बिलीव करते हो, आपका बिलीफ सिस्टम अलग है, आप किसी और चेन में काम करके आए हो ऑलरेडी और वहाँ पे आपका लीडरशिप रोल बिल्कुल डिफरेंट था और आपकी पर्सनैलिटी बिल्कुल डिफरेंट थी, तो आप दूसरे ग्रुप को जिसमें आप अभी प्रेजेंट में कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हो आप सही से कंट्रीब्यूट नहीं कर पाओगे. तो जो आपका ऑल्सो द वैल्यू डिफरेंसेस आर वैल्यू डिफरेंसेस मीन्स दैट the value systems if I am thinking about something else during my work hours, then it will affect my organization as well, and it will be bad for me. It will also be bad for me to work under those circumstances. If I am thinking bad about something, or if I am thinking something irrelative about the other person in my team, that will be very bad for the organization as well and the individual experiences as well. So if we move further, there is a stage 2, which is cognition and personalization, which is a perception issue basically, because what we see, we perceive that thing. It means कि हम जो चीज़ देखते हैं वही चीज़ हम समझते हैं, हम उस चीज़ के बारे में वही उस बारे में, उस बंदे के बारे में या उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के बारे में हम वही चीज़ एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं. तो ये एक तरह का परसेप्शन इशू है. सो लेट्स से कि द स्टेप ऑफ द दिस इज द स्टेप ऑफ द कॉन्फ्लिक्ट प्रोसेस. दिस इज द सेकंड स्टेप ऑफ द कॉन्फ्लिक्ट प्रोसेस दैट if no one is aware of conflict, then it is generally agreed that no conflict exists, because competition is perceived does not mean that it is personalized. Let's say I'll give you an example about again the two people, that is A and B. So the example is like that: A may be aware that B and A are in serious disagreements, differing opinions between them, but it may not make A tense or nations. So and it may have no effect whatsoever on A's affection towards B. It is a felt level that when individuals become emotionally involved, that parties experience anxiety, tension, or hostility. So the stage 2 is the place in the process of a conflict that where the parties decide what the conflict is about. They need to explain those changes, and they need to perceive those changes between an organization or the teams or individually, that what is the conflict, what basically a conflict is about. So also if you talk about the emotional ability, the emotion also play a major role in shaping perception also. So if we move further, there is a stage 3, that is stands for intentions. Intentions are those things which someone is perceiving, having personal thinking over a opinion of a different person. अगर मैं इसको इजी कर दूँ तो इंटेंशंस का मतलब होता है जो आप सोचते हो, या आपकी कोई भी किसी चीज़ के बारे में राय है, या एग्जांपल दे सकते हो, तो उस चीज़ को इंटेंशंस कहा जाता है. सो इंटेंशंस आर द डिसीजंस टू एक्ट इन अ गिवन वे. इंटेंशंस इंटरवेन बिटवीन पीपल्स परसेप्शंस एंड इमोशंस and their overt behavior, using two dimensions: cooperativeness, the degree to which one party attempts to satisfy the other party's concerns, and the second one is assertiveness, the degree to which one party attempts to satisfy his or her concerns. 5 conflict handlings intentions can be identified as well. So the intentions are basically different from one other than working in an organization. If let's say I'll give you an example. If A have some other intentions about B, let's say अगर A इस बारे में सोच रहा है कि B जो है मुझे हर तरह से पुल कर रहा है, मेरे वर्किंग स्टाइल को चेंज करने की कोशिश कर रहा है, या फिर मेरे आइडियाज़ से एग्री नहीं कर पा रहा है, तो वो एक तरीके की उसकी इंटेंशन है. उसको नहीं पता वो, क्योंकि उसके दिमाग के बारे में तो वो नहीं जानता, क्योंकि बी जो है खुद उस चीज़ को एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर रहा, या फिर शो नहीं करा रहा ए पर्सन को, तो जिसकी वजह से इंटेंशंस बिल्ड होना शुरू हो जाती हैं. सो लेट्स इफ़ यू मूव फर्दर, दैट इज़ अ स्टेज 4, विच इज़ बिहेवियर. This is the stage where conflict becomes visible, the conflict starts to arise, or the people working in an organization actually the conflict is visible to those people that are working in an organization. The behavioral stage includes the statements, actions, or physical confrontations that is taking place between groups or departments. So these are the conditions through which a conflict is shown to other people, कि दूसरे लोगों को पता चलना शुरू हो जाता है, जो विजिबल हो जाती है चीज़ें स्टेज 4 में आके, कि एक्शंस के थ्रू पता चलता है लोगों को कि दूसरा बंदा तीसरे बंदे के बारे में क्या सोच रहा है, या फिर अगर कोई HR डिपार्टमेंट में बंदा है तो वो IT डिपार्टमेंट के बंदे के बारे में क्या सोच रहा है, या उसकी इंटेंशंस कैसी हैं, गुड हैं या बैड हैं। तो ये सारी चीज़ें इस स्टेज में आके लोगों को विजिबल होना शुरू हो जाती हैं। The last and final stage that arise in the process of a conflict, that is stage 5, which is outcomes. So this is a action reaction situation between intergroup relations, or the interpersonal peoples who are working in an organization. So this is the result of those conditions that take place before these stages. So the action and reaction also interplay between the conflicting parties. It results in consequences or bad opinions taking place in an organization also. These all outcomes may be functional in that the conflict improves the group's performance, or dysfunctional in that it hinders group's performance also. And conflict is constructive when it improves the quality of decision. Let's say कि conflicts are different. It has two types, which is dysfunctional and functional. The dysfunctional means it has a bad impact on the organization, and the functional means it has a good impact. It has a constructive way of finding a solution of different problems in an organization. The tension released and foster an environment. They foster an environment of self-evaluation and change. Conflict is dysfunctional when uncontrolled opposition breeds discontent. Means the conflict is dysfunctional when it is bad for a company, or an organization who is working in an organization. It will be bad for them if the conflict is not visible to those persons who are working in a group or team members. If he or she is not agreed to the person's opinions or differing ideas, then it will have a bad impact on the organization as well. So these were the 5 stages that I have discussed that take place during a process of a conflict. The first one was the incompatibility. The second one was cognition and personalization. The stage 3 was intention, and the stage 4 was behavior. And the final and the last stage was stage 5, which were the outcomes, the result of those conflicts which have arrived due to some conditions in an organization. So now this was my part, and thank you for paying attention towards my presentation and my topic itself. Now I would like to call Mohammad Hadid to explain the management styles for a conflict. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Mohammad Hadid and I would be continuing this presentation further. Well, as my previous colleagues have discussed with you regarding what exactly is conflict and what are the types of conflict, so I would be explaining you what exactly is conflict management. Well, conflict management refers to the process of recognizing and handling the conflicts or disagreements that arise between individuals, groups, or organizations. Well, it involves addressing the situations, the goals, or the interests that are leading to the conflict and finding a mutually accepted solutions. Well, conflicts can arise due to various reasons. It can be either the differences in values, it can be differences in opinions, differences in priorities, or it can be due to limited resources. But what important is how these conflicts are managed, because if these conflicts are not managed properly, these can escalate very quickly and can negatively impact your relationships, your productivity, and overall well-being. So this is where conflict management comes into being. Well, conflict management provides you a constructive and a collaborative approach on how to manage these conflicts and how to resolve these conflicts. Telling you what are the different types of conflict management styles which were proposed by Thomas Kilmann in 1976, also known as Thomas Kilmann Conflict Mode Instrument, which comprises of 5 different styles on how individuals reach and approach and resolve the conflicts. It includes competing, collaborating, avoiding, accommodating, and compromising. So let's first take a look at what exactly is competing. So competing is basically giving priorities to one's own goals over the expenses of others. What exactly it means that you are giving priorities to self-interest over the sacrifices of other persons involved in it, that you are giving priority to your own goals, your own values, without taking in account all the other person that are around you or involved in the conflict, and you're disregarding other people's opinion as well. So let me take an example for you. There is a marketing company that is designing its marketing strategy. So there are two managers. One is a marketing manager and one is a sales manager. Both belong to different fields, so they would be designing their strategies based on their persona and their values and their priorities. But in the end, a company would accept the one own strategy that is best interest in the company's long term. So both the managers are striving that their strategy is the best, and other managers' strategy is nothing but a different negative outcome in the company's future. So this is the better example of how competing is. It will create an win or lose outcome and can damage relationships in the end as well. Management style in Thomas Kilmann model is collaborating. Collaborating emphasizes upon open communication, active listening, and creative problem solving. It involves striving towards a mutually acceptable solution that satisfies everyone's concerns. Well, me being a software engineering student, if we are a group of 4 or 5 people and we are working on a project, so if we stuck in a project or we are designing the layout of the project or the time frame of the project, we try to collaborate with each of the team members and getting their inputs on how a particular problem or the project to be solved in order to meet the deadlines, and also to create a productive atmosphere as well and build a long lasting relationship between the team members as well. So it would create a win-win situation in the end. So the third style in Thomas Kilmann model is avoidance. The avoidance style involves sidestepping or postponing the conflict altogether. Well, this style involves withdraw from the situation, ignore the problem, or simply avoid confrontation. Well, avoidance may be appropriate when the issue is trivial and emotions are high, and you are certain that the further discussion on this conflict won't lead to you to the resolution of the conflict. Let me take an example for you. If two people are sitting in a gathering and they have been in a conflict in the past as well over some political views, so it's simply best to avoid political discussions in the gathering and simply switch the topic towards a more productive manner. So that would be simply avoiding the conflict at all. Style in Thomas Kilmann model is accommodating. Well, accommodating emphasizes upon self-sacrifice and giving priority to the needs of others and neglecting our own concerns. It portrays the selfless behavior and minimizes the selfish behavior and produces a productive atmosphere, and is crucial and effective when the preservance of the relationship is very important. Let me take an example for you. If a team is working on a project and they are aware of a one team member that is going through some mental problems, so what they do is they try to minimize his work by distributing his work and other team members, so that this would lead to some mental peace to that person as well and would help his productivity in the long term. Well, the fifth and last style in Thomas Kilmann model is compromising. Compromising means to give up some individual preferences over the sake of reaching an agreement. Well, compromising involves seeking a middle ground or finding a mutually acceptable solution that partially satisfies everyone's concerns that are involved in the conflict. Let me explain this by taking an example for you. If there are two roommates, Alex and Sam, Alex likes to sleep early and Sam likes to stay up late. Well, the problem is that the light remains on in the room till Sam is awake, which is causing trouble to Alex in his sleep. So Alex discusses his issue with the Sam, and they find a time which is neither very early nor very late, and they produce a good relationship with each other. So that will help you to understand what compromising style is all about.
I'm a business lawyer and a negotiation consultant, so my professional life centers on effective conflict management. And today I'm going to tell you the story of one of my most serious conflicts. In order for you to wrap your head around the gravity of this situation, there's something important you need to know about me. I love Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So earlier this year, after a long day at work, all I wanted to do was relax at home with a bowl of my favorite cereal. So imagine how I felt when I got home and I saw my lovely wife, Whitney, sitting on the couch, finishing the last bowl of my cereal. And she did not even have the decency to use milk. So without thinking, I marched into the kitchen, I took her granola, and I ate all of it. And I don't even like granola. This is an example of how not to handle conflict. So obviously we're having a little bit of fun with that example, but the reality is that conflict can be the most challenging part of our personal and professional lives. Whether it's a business negotiation or a heated political argument, these conversations are intimidating and infuriating. But why? This is your amygdala. The amygdala is a temperamental part of the brain that is quick to respond to perceived threats. It's part of the limbic system, which is one of the most primitive brain structures and is also known as the lizard brain. These quick, primal responses were critical for survival way back in the day when we were living in caves and death lurked around every corner. But the problem is that society evolved faster than our brains. And as a result, today we struggle in difficult conversations because we're fighting modern-day battles with prehistoric tools. Have you ever said something in the heat of the moment that you immediately knew was a mistake? This is called an amygdala hijack, and it can take you from rational to irrational in the blink of an eye. These responses are rooted in fear, and we only have 3 fear responses: fight, flight, and the often overlooked freeze response, which is also known as the deer in headlights response. And your preferred fear response is most likely going to be a product of your lived experience. I grew up in Tiffin, Ohio, and the thing that I really appreciated about Tiffin was its diversity. On top of that, my family's from the Caribbean, so I had a strong Caribbean accent when I was growing up. So not only did I look different, I also sounded different. And not surprisingly, this combination made it real tough for the young boy to fit in. So because of this, I became obsessed with finding ways to gain the acceptance of my peers, and eventually, I became one of the most popular kids at school. But this came with a price. I became deathly afraid of saying or doing something that could potentially jeopardize the relationships that I worked so hard to create. I became a people pleaser, and this made it less likely for me to stand up for myself in difficult conversations. In other words, I would freeze or flee in the face of conflict. This led me to agree when I actually disagreed and avoid confrontation at all costs. But all this changed when I met my mentor, and he told me something that I will never forget. He said, "Kwame, there is a big difference between being liked and being respected. And if you want to have personal and professional success, you need to be willing to engage with conflict." So after that meeting, I forced myself to have the difficult conversations that I spent my whole life trying to avoid. And as I built this new habit, I discovered something life-changing. Conflict is an opportunity. Conflict provides you with the unique opportunity to either repair and strengthen valuable relationships or identify and remove malignant relationships with minimal damage. So how do we actually engage with the conflict at hand? You remember fight, flight, or freeze? I suggest that we use a more evolved response to conflict resolution, something that I like to call compassionate curiosity. Now, the distinction between curiosity and compassionate curiosity is more than just semantics. For example, you could start a conversation off like this: "What the hell is your problem?" Curious, yes. Compassionate, no. Or you could start a conversation like this. How do you feel about this situation? Compassionate curiosity fosters a genuine desire to understand that is tempered with empathy and respect. Approaching conversations in this way naturally causes you to ask better, deeper, and more penetrating questions and listen more effectively. What makes this so hard is the fact that we need to be vulnerable. We need to be willing to suspend judgment and open ourselves up to the scary possibilities of either being wrong or potentially losing a relationship. Compassionate curiosity is the key to taming the lizard brain. Slowing down and asking these high-level questions forces you to use the most evolved part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex. This is where you find logical reasoning. Whenever you get lost, confused, or scared in these conversations, compassionate curiosity will be your North Star. You can look to it for guidance when you don't know what to say. You can lean on it for support in your most difficult conversations. And as you start to build this new habit, you'll realize that it actually takes pressure off of you because your goal is to learn, not to teach. Here's an example. Earlier this year, I found myself in a heated contract negotiation. The guy on the other side was furious. I could actually hear his voice quivering with rage with every word he said. And then I felt the sudden rush of emotion from my amygdala, and it told me that I could either run away, fight back, or just sit there and take it. But instead of falling victim to these primal impulses, I chose to use compassionate curiosity. I led with compassion and focused on addressing his acute emotional needs. I said, listen, I can tell you're upset. What are your biggest concerns? What can we do to help you? And as he started to answer these questions, he slowly began to calm down. And by the end of the conversation, we were laughing and joking with each other, and he gave me everything that I needed. Effective conflict management is a critical element of negotiation and persuasion. This deal would have been impossible if I didn't take the time to suspend my agenda and address the conflict on the front end of the conversation. And you don't need to be a professional negotiator to do this. It works in your personal life as well. But I will be honest with you, I am a lot better at doing this in my professional life than I am in my personal life. And this is because as the relationships get closer, the stakes get higher. There's more to lose. But you have to remember, we don't use compassionate curiosity because it's easy. We use it because the relationship is worth it. Speaking of relationships, let's get back to Whitney and Serialgate. What does compassionate curiosity look like in this situation? Well, instead of suffering through an ungodly amount of granola to make an ineffective point, what I should have done was first, lead with compassion, and second, invited her to problem solve with me through the use of open-ended questions. Now, this is where it gets really interesting because I actually tried this with Whitney a few weeks later, and I learned something fascinating. So when I brought this up to her, she looked at me with genuine confusion and said, Kwame, do I really do that? And I was shocked. And this was shocking to me for two reasons. Reason number one was because at this point we'd been married for 7 years, and I could not believe that she didn't know how much of an issue this was to me. Reason number two was because as we were having this serious conversation, she was literally finishing off another box of my cereal right in front of me. This just goes to show that a lot of times the other side is blissfully unaware of the impact that their behavior has on us. And this is precisely why it is our responsibility to stand up and say something if we really care about the relationship and we really care about making positive change. We're living in a time now where it seems as though we've forgotten how to talk to each other. Embracing and sharing this message of compassionate curiosity may be the best thing that we can do to counter the animosity that we're seeing in the world today. So I'll leave you with this. It's a challenge. The next time you find yourself in the midst of a conflict, remember, you have two choices. You could either use compassionate curiosity and actually seek to improve the relationship, or you can follow them home, sneak into their kitchen, and eat all of their granola.
We've understood what conflict management is and what conflict management styles are. So now the presentation would be continued further but with my colleagues. Thank you so much.
Hello Deep, thank you for inviting me. And today my topic is how to manage conflict in an organization. Conflict cause billions of dollars loss every year and has a great deal of unhappiness. To start with, how it but there is a question how it can be avoided. So to start with, conflict is a thing that can happen at workplace, at home, or anywhere in the world, but it is perfectly normal. It is not conflict itself that is damaging our society. The main thing is that the conflict which remain unsolved is more dangerous. Today I am here to tell you about some practical strategies that how to avoid or handle a conflict in an organization. We have some points and today I will discuss that points with you. So first of all, we have talk with the other person. Ask the other person to name a time when it would be convenient to meet. When a conflict arises, arrange to meet up a place where nobody can interrupt both of you. Focus. Number two point is focus on behavior and events, not on personalities. See, when this happens, instead of when you do, describe a specific instance or event instead of generalization. Listen carefully. Third point is listen carefully. Listen to what other person is saying instead of getting to ready to react. Avoid interrupting other person's point of view, what he is trying to saying. After the other person finishes, rephrase what the other person is trying to say. Can you understand it? Ask questions if you have to clarify your understanding. Number 4 point is identify points of agreement and disagreements. Summarize the areas of agreement and disagreement. Ask the other person if he or she is agree with your assessment. Modify your assessment until both of you get the solution of conflict. Number 5, prioritize priority. Give the area of conflict a priority. Discuss which area of conflict is more important to resolve. Number 6, develop a plan to work on each conflict. Start with important conflict. Focus on the future. Set up a future meeting to continue discussions about a conflict, what is happening, what was happened before. Number 7 point is follow through on your plan. Stick with the discussion until you work through each area of conflict. Maintain a collaborative attitude for example, let's work on a solution. Let's work out on a solution. Number 8 point is build on your success. Look for opportunity to point out progress, compliment others person insights and achievements. uh, congratulate uh, congratulate each other when you make progress, even if just a small step. Your hard work will pay off. And have a friendly good environment and friendly communication with your colleagues to avoid any arguments or conflicts. They are the ways and they are the basic points you need to know when you are going in an organization or about to go, or you are currently working on an organization. They are the basic steps to avoid or to manage a conflict in an organization. So I pass. So I am inviting Muhammad Hassan Khan to have some case studies and global statics. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Hassan Khan, and today I'll be talking about global statistic on conflict and a case study that is about conflict in a cross-functional team. So first I want to thank Sayyid Ali for sharing the slides with me. Now I'm starting with a case study that is about conflict in a cross-functional team. In this case study, we will explore a conflict that is occurred within a cross-functional team at XYZ Corporation. Hindering their progress collaboration, the team was assembled with members from different departments, including management department, marketing department, IT department, etc. They are united to launch and design a new product. Initially, the team exhibited strongly, but as soon as the project advanced, conflict arose due to the differing opinions, conflicting priorities, and communication gaps. Cross-functional teams at XYZ Corporation had problems with how they communicated because different departments preferred different ways of interacting. For example, the marketing department liked talking in person while the IT department relied on messages. They also had different goals. The finance department wanted to save money, but marketing department wanted to do big promotions. They disagreed in important decisions. These conflicts made it hard for them to trust each other and share ideas. To address the conflict within the cross-functional team effectively, potential solutions include establishing clear communication channels to accommodate different preferences, aligning individual with project's objectives, and appointing mediator to facilitate or to resolve conflict. These measures aim to promote open communication, consensus building, and constructive discussion within the team. Additional potential resolution to address the conflict within the cross-functional team include organizing team building activities and workshops to build trust and improve relationships. Implementing clear decision making process and defining decision ownership can minimize ambiguity and enhance accountability. Providing training and development opportunities can equip team members with essential skills in conflict resolution, communication, and collaboration. These resolutions aim to strengthen teamwork and promote effective collaboration within the cross-functional team. Conflict within the cross-functional team is common due to diverse background and perspective. To address conflict and promote collaboration, XYZ Corporation can implement solutions such as clear communication channels, goal alignment, mediation, trust building activities, defined decision making process, and training. These measures will help them and the team to overcome conflict and enhance their effectiveness in working together towards the project success. Now moving towards uh, global statistic on conflict. The Society for Human Resource Management reported that 85% employee experience conflict to some extent and around 29% of their time is dedicated to managing conflict. Conflict in organization often stems from interpersonal issues, workload and resource allocation, and organizational change. These conflicts can lead to reduced productivity, increase employee stress, and burn out a negative organizational culture and financial cost. Understanding the causes and consequences of conflict is crucial for the organization to implement effective conflict management strategies and foster healthy work environment. A survey by the American Management Association found that 72% of the organization use training to solve conflict at work. The survey also showed that 78% of the organization use different ways like talking with a mediator or coach to fix conflict. This means many companies understand the importance of conflict and importance of resolving conflicts, and they use different methods to help their employees to work better. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Rayan Khan to give a summary of our presentation.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mohammad Rayyan Khan, and first of all, I would like to thank Hassan Khan for handing over the presentation to me. Today, I am here to conclude all the topics that my colleagues have discussed regarding conflict. The outcome of conflict can be unlike depending on how it is managed and resolved. There are 5 possible outcomes. First one is win-win. In this outcome, both parties find a mutually acceptable solution that satisfies their interests and needs. It promotes cooperation and collaboration, leading to improved relationship and increased satisfaction. Second one is win-lose. This outcome occurs when one party achieves their desired outcome at the expense of the other party. It can result in dissatisfaction relationship between the parties involved. Third one is lose-win. In this outcome, one party give in or compromise to avoid further conflict. It may lead to feelings of dissatisfaction on the part of the party who loses. Fourth one is lose-lose. This outcome occurs when both parties fail to achieve their desired outcome and may experience negative consequences as a result. Fifth and last one is no resolution. In some cases, conflict may remain unresolved, either due to lack of effort or an inability to find a solution. This can result in ongoing tension, decreased productivity, and strained relationship. It's important to note that win-win outcomes are generally considered the most desirable as they promote positive relationship and foster a cooperative work environment. That's why we have an example of win-win. Two colleagues, Alex and John, are assigned to work together on a project. Alex prefers to work in the morning while John prefers the afternoon. They both have valid reason for their preferences. Instead of arguing or compromising, they decide to split their workday into 2 shifts. Alex takes the morning shift and complete her task, while John takes the afternoon shift and does his work. By doing so, they both get to work their preferred time, maintain their productivity, and maintain a positive working relationship. This solution satisfies both their interests and need, making it a win-win outcome. Here our presentation is completed. Thank you for your time and attention, and I look forward to answering any question you may have. Thank you once again for being a part of this presentation. Your participation and feedback are invaluable, and I would like to forward
of future opportunities to connect and share knowledge. Thank you and Allah Hafiz.